and welcome back again for the AgriTech session. And thank you, Padma and the team here for the wonderful session. So I'll just set the context for AgriTech. World over, we have seen now how communicable diseases are spreading, non-communicable diseases are spreading, India being the diabetes capital of the world, and food and diseases are very much interlinked. And what we are going to do next for the next 15-20 years is really going to set the context for how we are going to build a healthy nation. So this being the context, how are we going to streamline the agri industry, and how is technology going to play a role there? So that's the theme, and of course the chair would be kind of steering this discussion. So I request, as I read out the names, all distinguished members who have done phenomenal work in the field of agri and agri-tech, I request people to come over on stage. First, we have Mr. Ashhar Farhan, who is the founder and partner of Dana Farmers Network, who will be chairing the agri. Welcome, sir. And followed by Dr. Babu UV, who is Director R&D of Himalaya Wellness, who will be joining us on stage. Mr. Krishna Kumar, who is the Vice President of Crop Operations and Sustainability, Agri-Business Division of ITC. We have Naresh Nekanti, who is the Managing Director of Bhavani Bioorganics. Mr. Ram Kumar Verma, who is founder and CEO of Native Araku Coffee, and who is actually treating us to some amazing filter coffee every session. And our very own Vishala Reddy, who is a millet crusader and the founder of the Millet Bank. The passion that she brings to the cause of millets is something phenomenal, and we look forward to her views. Dr. Manasa Reddy, Managing Director, Biomflex Private Limited. We welcome you. And then, last but not the least, Mr. Shirish Reddy, who is an organic and a herbal product consultant. Now I leave the stage open to the chair and the other members on the stage to steer the discussion. And yeah, just to again set the context, the next 20 years, how are we going to steer the agri and the agri-tech industry for us to build a healthy nation? Over to you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
To audience, right, there is one poet who told, like, whatever digitization you are going to do, end of day roti is not going to come from Google. So it's very important that you focus on this roundtable. Over to you, teacher.
To ISF once more on behalf of this panel. My name is Farhan, and we hope to open up and put forth before you some of the challenges that the agriculture sector in itself is facing, faced with the challenges of technology and the opportunity of technology, and probably also opportunity of climate, of the Indian situation, the Indian economy, etc. So I would like to keep the formality very short, and we'll just go around the panel, and I would request each one of the panelists to just give a one-line introduction of you, your name and your organization, followed by what do you think is the single biggest challenge and the single biggest opportunity, or probably one or two of them, but very short, so that we can use these as the jump-off points for our discussions. Okay? So, shall I start with you, sir?
Hello. Good afternoon to all. I am Dr. G.R. Chintala, former chairman NABARD. So, it's very nice to participate in this one. And there are so many challenges, because as NABARD chairman, I used to see really what are the agricultural problems. Definitely, once the panel goes around, I will tell really what are the things which can happen or cannot happen because of the issues related to aggregation, issues related to the finances, issues related to the funds availability, and also the markets. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to this because NABARD has been a key player in the agricultural sector of India. So I'll pass it on to Mr. Krishna of ITC now. You can pass it on.
Good morning to all of you. This is Krishna Kumar. I'm from ITC. My basic expertise is commodity value chain development, sustainability, and I get great joy for working with Indian farmer for the last 4 decades, focusing on greater value creation to the farmer and entire value chain. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Babu. I am the director of Himalaya Wellness Company. So my core competence is how we can globalize our traditional medicines using our medicinal plants and the herbs. So I'll set a context where we work closely with the farmers. Can we provide an alternative, the herbs or the crops where we can increase the sustainable income of the farmers? That's the main goal. The problems are many in this category. I will try to explain, but mainly the problem is today authenticity of the herbs. Okay, that is whether what we say is that the correct, and the package of practices and the right price, and then insurance to the farmers, those who are cultivating medicinal herbs.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Manasa. I'm the Managing Director of Bloomflex Private Limited. At Bloomflex, we provide post-harvest solutions like the breathable bags where the shelf life of the fresh produce, all kinds, can be extended at Indian ambient temperature, because our philosophy is hunger and food wastage should not coexist in the same community.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ram Kumar Verma. I'm the founder and CEO for Native Araku Coffee. Our prime intention to work with is in the tribal fraternity, and our journey has always been in terms of how do we add more revenue to the tribal farmer. And the biggest opportunity which we have seen is with one product, which is coffee, there are a lot of byproducts which can be generated, and we're working on that, where the revenue for the farmer is just not from the coffee bean, but there are byproducts where the revenue can be doubled with the same process. So that's what we've been working upon. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Sirish Reddy from Hyderabad. I am into organic farming and herbal consultant. I think today the health what we are talking about, and they say our total earth is gone. So how we can bring it back? So we have a solution. I'll come back.
So actually I work in line with what Sirish said. How do we bring back the earth? Millets is not just food for us, it's a culture. It's almost 7,000 plus years old culture. And what we are trying to do from Millet Bank, which I founded in 2020, after seeing my sister was selling foxtail millet for 15 rupees. And we are trying to bring back this culture and create a value chain for millets and rural crafts. And what we feel is that agriculture is India's culture, and there are a lot of interconnectedness at the grassroots level. It is not just food, it's also farmers and the artisans, and everybody is together, as JS also was telling. It's an integrated ecosystem, self-sustainable at the rural level. So how do we bring back? And as a millets we are using as a main thing, and also rural crafts, we work with rural artisans. Thank you.
Hello, I would like everyone to stand up and give a standing ovation to Mr. J.A. Chaudhary, who brought all of us here. We're all here, only he called of us.
Thank you, Mr. Sirish. That was imperative for us to do. Now, now, with the preliminary rounds of introductions in place, I would begin myself by saying that I think the big challenge is sustainable agriculture. And by sustainable, I mean that it has to be sustainable in various directions. It has to be economically sustainable. It has to be environmentally sustainable. It has to be, livelihood sustainable. That is, livelihoods depend on this. But in spite of it, the buildings have, you have to build the entire value chain, as she is saying. So I think it's important for us to look at these models of sustainability. So I would open this panel up now to find out if there are institutional models or the private sector models. We thankfully have the biggest names, just ITC and NABARD, on this panel. So I hope to see some development of this and exposition of these areas. Would you like to take a
Good morning. I think as the context was said very well, today one of the biggest driver for impacting entire humanity, economy, and certainly agriculture is climate change. So all of us are experiencing this climate change, which is disrupting the crop production as well as supply chain. So certainly we need a comprehensive policy framework and interagency collaboration and high dose of innovation and technology intervention. I'm sure digital is a major intervention as part of the technology intervention is concerned. It is very well known fact that the global population is likely to reach 10 billion level by 2050. And to feed the same, we need to double the current food production. Whereas our farmers are facing the challenge in terms of sustaining current level of productivity and quality in the backdrop of the various production challenges, which include the climate-induced variability as well as other issues like access to right technology, right input. Of course, in the last 5 years, the challenge of skilled labor availability and the cost. This being the case, on the supply side, on the demand side, the consumer is looking for more safer, nutritional products, coupled with high degree of concern for the impact of the climate. All these things together, as the panel chairman rightly said, that there is a greater focus on sustainable food value chain so that everybody has enough food as well as the quality of the food and it can remain sustainable. That is where, even if you really see the recent policy frameworks and regulations throughout the world, you are seeing greater and greater scrutiny of sustainable way of doing things. Whether you look at the various policy frameworks emanating out of UN goals like CDP or SBTi framework for low carbon footprint crop value chains or production or manufacturing, to global biodiversity frameworks. And I think in the recent, even today, it is there in the paper that most of us would have heard the recent EUR directive, which is saying that no deforestation and any product which need to be imported into Europe need to declare and prove with crop custody that in the last 4 years there is no deforestation impacted because of that product or the process starting from the farm to factory. So what is the big difference is coming out of this greater focus on sustainability is that not only the consumer is looking at and demanding for safer product and process, the entire international community is enabling, encouraging the countries and organizations to look this aspect with a greater focus because it is impacting everybody's life, including the farmer. You are seeing, in my experience in the last 30-40 years, if there was a drought, it used to be drought or excess rain or extreme weather. It used to be once in a 10 years or once in a 5 years. Today, drought or excess rain or extreme weather event has become a new normal. Today, if you really see World Economic Forum, the top 10 risks, the second risk is extreme weather event. See, from a general level of climate change and impact on the society as well as agriculture, today we are talking about extreme weather event, very clear. The farmer is saying that suddenly I am receiving cyclones like Michang cyclone. What I should do? My crop is inundated. What I should do? So in that way, there is a need for interventions, a comprehensive policy framework and interagency collaboration to ensure that two aspects are taken care together. One is the climate change mitigation, what you should do to reduce the pace of deterioration. That's where the net zero targets, science-based targets, especially the flag guidelines from the SBTi, focusing on the agriculture, land use change as well as forest. That is one part. The second part is how you are adapted. What is the level of your adaptation? So that these two together we get the climate resilience agriculture. That is where, along with the policy framework, technology plays a bigger role, especially the tech requirement is very high. I think with these few words, I stop here because there are so many things to talk about in terms of what we need to do to produce the buy required by the consumer and to address the challenges of the farmer. So the maximum value capture happens in the value chain, either ends at the farmer level or at the consumer level, and minimize the value capture and value loss in the value chain. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So before we come back to and find out what the institutional requirements may be and interventions might be, I would like to probably challenge the entrepreneurs here to look at what are the opportunities for the small entrepreneurs to make these interventions, which are socially conscious as well as getting there. So if I could just get some quick bites from you people, we can develop a sense of where entrepreneurship is and what role it is playing in AgriTech. So can I?
Yeah, thank you. As I told, we represent in most of the countries across the globe, and it is the wellness, it is the health. So what generally we do is we connect with the farmers. We try to provide alternative solutions to the farmers. Today, the farmers are conventionally growing certain crops, and they know how to grow it. But can we give an alternative options to increase their sustainable incomes? So when it comes to that, I just want to give a background how the sustainability, how the entrepreneurship can be done in the medicinal plants. For example, if you see historically, the India is reported 17,500 medicinal plants. And today, we have around 1,000 medicinal plants in the trade. In Ayurveda, it is reported 980 plants. Whereas with the help of central government, CSR, all the institutions have studied 6,800 plants of their, importance of its biological activity. So during the journey of thousands of years, what exactly has happened? We never take care or took care of these plants. Wherever there is a demand, that is where the focus has been. It is very heartening to note that we lost around 65 very important medicinal plants that are reported in Ayurveda, which are available in the Himalayan range. Today we lost. So the most important in the industry is the sustainability. Okay. When we talk about sustainability, again, in the herbal industry particularly, 30% of the raw materials are cultivated as in today. Most of those raw materials are still depend on the wild collection. So our first effort is how we can increase the sustainable availability of these herbs. Therefore, can we work with the institutions, with our own capacity, develop the cultivation of, cultivation practices of these medicinal plants. So our aim is every year to add 15 to 20% from the wild collections to cultivation. In an effort, we connect with the larger NGOs across the country. Okay. So then if I have traveled across the country to understand that what herbs, where and which geography this can be cultivated. So, and then the farmers' needs are different. Some farmers want returns within 3 months, and some farmers can wait up to 6 months. So, and there is also most important thing is, and the responsibility of the industry is, suppose some of those herbs are trending, like for example, turmeric is trending, ashwagandha is trending. So, the industries will put, or the people will put a lot of focus on those herbs. Then what is exactly happened? Most of those farmers trying to cultivate same herbs without realizing what is exactly the demand. It is actually created demand because of trending across the nations. Therefore, the farmers are not getting the fair price. If there is more supply, obviously, this is the one. The most important in entrepreneurship, if I have to put, where we are working, and there are a lot of opportunities for the entrepreneurships. Now the world is, turning from conventional to organic. The biggest problem in this industry is the pesticides, heavy metals. These are all contaminants. When we export these products to US, Europe, everywhere, these are the issues. When a produce coming from India to other countries, these are the challenges. And unfortunately, we have the organic standards, and people are cultivating the organic herbs. There is a lot of contamination across. There are a lot of knowledge is required. So one of the very, very important value addition to this industry is that can we, opportunities, the cultivation of organic certified herbs. Then obviously 20 to 30% of the price when compared to the conventional herbs. So we can demand. So that's the one thing. And the following the processing, like the crude herbs are cultivated and it is coming from the thousands of, the kilometers across the country. Can we have, suburbs like processing units? So we need to travel the truckloads of raw material from north to south. So can we have a semi-processing, industries where we can create an employment? Like for example, the raw herbs, we are cultivating in the Uttarakhand or, other areas, or it is vice versa, like from south to north. So we are trying to build up the semi-processing units where we can create an employment, and where we do is from the raw herbs to, making into the micronization, like it's the powders, and value addition to making into some kind of extracts. So this is not only the farmers, where we bring in a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities from the biotechnologists. Like we have identified some herbs which can be cultivated, through hydroponics, through vertical farming, where we can improve the yield, where we can do the lot of, the economies to this one. So I feel that there are many, many opportunities as an entrepreneur. One is I can say that, organic herbs, there's a lot of demand. And, the biotechnological intervention to increase the yield of this particular medicinal plants. So there are many, so I can add more. Yeah.
To add to what Mr. Babu has mentioned, sustainability should be there at the farm level, as well as sustainability should be focused when we are throwing out food. So when something is produced and it is being wasted, it is just not the produce that is being wasted. The water that went into the cultivation also is going wasted. So the post-harvest management should also be taken as important, and it should be given the equal significance as compared to the sustainability aspects at the farm level. Also adding to what Krishna Kumar Garu and Babu Garu has mentioned, so when organic farming is a new boom, so how do we differentiate between organic and non-organic food that is available in the market? There is nowhere that an end consumer can know just by word of mouth or through some references. People are blindly going ahead and buying the packs which are branded themselves as organic. Whereas if there is a possibility of incorporating a traceability matrix from the farm to the pack, which will then be bought to the home, that would be really impactful, and any technological or any tech that can support the organizations like ITCs and Himalayas, that would actually add quite a lot of value to the end consumer is what I opine.
So to add on to the conversation, my experience talks, especially I'm working with a lot of tribal communities around. The biggest opportunity lies today. Farmer is not confident that every year with my coffee production, what is that I'm going to earn by the end of the year. So with that first biggest challenge, though the next generation comes down to a conclusion saying that, anyways my father or my family is not earning, what's the point in me continuing the same farming? This is the biggest opportunity which I see at the first point. And the solution which we have to, or which I suggest at this point of time is, we have to educate the farmer. While in your existing land, it's just not one crop. There are multiple crops that can be also cultivated. There are seasons, there are soils which can make a difference to the same area. The day when the farmer feels, like the way Krishna Kumar sir was talking about, if a cyclone comes or if the natural calamity happens and the season is gone and the soil is gone, what happens for the remaining 6 months? So the farmer should have that confidence level saying that, okay, my coffee crop is gone, but for sure I know with this existing soil I can still do a turmeric or a millet in the same land. That is when the sustainability of the confidence from the farmer goes into the picture. And when we're talking about production level going double, the farmer will also have a confidence saying that I have 3 crops, various crops where I can generate revenue for myself. That's something which I see is the biggest opportunity, because unless until farmer has confidence, he doesn't cultivate whatever sustainability we're talking about, I don't think so will come into a picture. That's my view about it. Thank you.
Hello. So we are talking about the difficulties in farming and what all the today our total land is chemicalized. So they are talking about it take 4 to 5 years to bring it back. So what is the solution? We have a solution which is a probiotic solution. You need microorganisms in the soil which you don't find. So once the microorganisms are there, then you can see the earthworms later. Maybe we can do it in 6 months. We have a solution, one probiotic solution. Then we need micronutrients also. This thing we have a herbal and herbal and natural products. And when it comes to, we have an herbal liquid, which 4 liters of our liquid is equal to 1 ton of urea. So we are working on it, and a lot of farmers in Kurnool district, Chittoor district and Tamil Nadu, they are using our product, likely to come into the market maybe in next 6 to 9 months. Then we have a organic, the biggest problem we are facing is the weedicide. We have an organic weedicide which really works. There is no chemical in it. So we want to make it totally chemical free nation. And to follow it, there is one agriculturist in Bangalore. His company is called Organic Mandya. He is very, very successful. He is the role model, we can say. He is the first role model in India who is doing it in a real big way. So Organic Mandya, Mahesh. Last month there was a, he was in ISB. There was a very good seminar from Mahesh. And today the biggest problem we are facing is diabetes. The diabetes, I think above 35, every third or second person is a diabetic. Today we have a herbal product, diabetes. you spray it on your tummy. See on the 50th day and the 30th day where your sugar levels will be. We are selling the product in the market. We have a lot of other herbal products also. Maybe I'll let you know.
Farhan, I'll speak the opportunities which you asked across the value chain in agriculture and specifically in millets. I come from a farming family and I've seen how it happens. 20 years I was in the village and I've seen how the entire ecosystem, right? And then next 20 years I worked in the hospitality industry, business events, and I've seen this side of ecosystem also. So what I noticed is that in my childhood, if you see the agriculture, seeding to feeding, everything was at the home level. Like my mother used to have 30 varieties of seeds stored, and we used to have our own tools. We used to have our own storage equipment, and processing is anyway, it was not commercialized like especially millets. It was hand pounded and hand grinded. Now suddenly, we left it, the entire culture which we have preserved and practiced and passed on from generations to generation. In the last 40 years, it has completely broken in the villages. Now as a result of that, if you see in millet space, no seed is available. When I started my millet journey, I went to Sir's farm in Madanapalli and I have taken the millet from him. And then, if you look at the storage structure, everything is cement and concrete. There is no culture in the, home architecture itself. There is no storage. And then the third one is most important is that earlier we used to use the stones to, hand clean this whole crop. Now they are putting it in the tar roads and they're letting the vehicles pass. That is actually huge contamination is happening. And, a lot of issues. And also now there is no agriculture label availability because we were all combined families. In my house there were 30 people and we used to share and care the work. And now there is no labor only. And everything has become small families, husband and wife. Nobody wants anybody in their house. So how can they focus on homework and also, agriculture? It's impossible. So how do we solve this? Whatever the ecosystem at home level, we have to bring it to the community level. And the community development through infrastructure is very much needed. And that is where the models like Lamakan play a major role. Because what I have done is I have converted our own agricultural shed, which was not used for the 15 years. There were rats. I used it as a museum, millet museum. And that is when Ramaji Rao Garu has seen that, article that I have converted a millet museum. And then he asked his team to promote across the ETV channels. That is how we become a brand overnight. And I give a lot of credit for that. And that is where the community infrastructure, lot of, the rural people, rural youth, they're very good. They have a lot of energy and all skills are there. The only thing they don't have English. And if you can actually empower them and train them and make them open this community center at the grassroots level, where they will also align with farmers and they will connect market linkages and everything that they will be take care. And that itself will work as a unit to, to develop the whole ecosystem in those. So that intervention, that placemaking and the community development intervention is very much needed. And that is where we have to use one certification course called place manager or something like community manager, rural community manager, where they go open this kind of unused infrastructure and convert into community facilities. That is where the opportunity is there at the grassroots level. And otherwise, across the value chain in processing and in, they can open cafes, they can open a lot of other opportunities there. And I would like to, give one more credit to NABARD for our success. Because when we started, we've not gone for any funding. It's a self-funded initiative. I went and presented our case study in Madurai. NABARD MABIF, there is a small incubation center. And they said, Vishal, don't worry, no photographs are needed. You tell me what you want. I said, I want people who manufacture millet products. Within 24 hours, I had complete list. And then they called for capitalistic fund. And we are the winners of capitalist fund, 40 lakhs. And, that is actually made us to be here what we are. So opportunities are there and challenges are there. What we have to do is we have to club it, maybe this end to that end. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Mr. Prasad. He's joined us. He's been a farmer and been in this for the last 25, 30 years now.
Yeah, I will speak a little about millets. After our 2023 International International Year of Millets is gone, there is a real slump in millet usage and things have gone to the back door. But what I see is in many districts, lot of people join together with the district collector asking FOs to do a very tasty, good-looking millet biscuits or pizza, burger, bread, a lot of. And I could see very colorful, tasty, where children love it. Now what we think of millets is only when you get diabetes, you use millet. So who will get diabetes? Okay, diabetes may come after 30, 40 years. The good food is required for very child who is born in this country or everywhere. ICRISAT here has recently done a survey saying that the children fed with the millets, particularly ragi, that is finger millet, have grown 26% more in growth and more in brain development. What is this? So now we are feeding the children with a lot of nonsense. Birthday celebrating with cakes, lot of, I don't want to name things. And whatever is good and to be a part of our daily life has been thrown out. Saying that this is the food for working class. So we eat a lot of pizza, burger and a lot of things. So the things have changed now. The millets have become very costly because the processing has become very crucial. Where you have to do destoning and 2-3 times. A lot of labor are required. And you have to do without polishing, without losing the lignans on the top surface, you have to make the dehulling. All this has made, even if the price is low at the farmer level, when it comes to the final product, it is coming to 2 times more than what we buy. And of course, after certification, it is becoming more costlier and common people are unable to reach to the use of millets. So what is our priority? See, now whatever is America doing, Hyderabad is doing and later Anantapur is doing. So we have to make the people believe that this is a very good food and very costly food. Only then people start eating it. When people in America tear their pants, the people in Hyderabad will tear. When they start eating something wrong, whatever, they will start eating here. So we should now promote our millets, which are so much diversified now. See, amazing. See, people are saying, oh, eat foxtail, podo millet, proso, barnyard. Many things are there. We did not stick on to so many things. Many people complain that this is not tasty and all that. I found that kodo millet is more tastier than rice. So whoever asks me, I'll ask them, shift from your rice, ma'am. What rice? Polished white rice, what taste does it have? Unless you mix chicken, mutton or whatever. Where is the taste for rice? That too your rice where you are growing 50 bags by putting 20 bags of urea. Where is the taste for it? You are eating little bit of urea, this much of endosulfan and maybe some other pesticide and fungicide. Nothing in rice. No energy. I myself started consuming from 2010. After Subhash Palekar's meeting, organic farming, all. See, once you get connected to nature, it will teach you everything. No teachers are required. You just be with the nature. It will teach you. Once I entered into organic farming, then I started working on air and water. Now we collected roof water 1.4 lakh liters and we are all drinking, making it alkaline, just passing it through limestone, bricks, pieces and sand. We are drinking alkaline water. Cities people are buying alkaline water 600 rupees, saying that Virat Kohli is drinking alkaline water, black water, red water, colored water. What water, man? Salt. So much confusion for air water. So millets have become a very costly, and the problem with elite people is how to cook. This is a big story. Say when a lot of non-vegetarians will be there, but I speak like this only wherever I am called. When stinking fish is rubbed properly and made beautiful grated with ginger and whatever masalas. Why not millets cooking idli, dosha, pongal? A lot of things you can make with kodo millet. You make it is so tasty. When Americans could pump their quinoa into our system, selling at 800 rupees, paying 150 or whatever for kodo millet and barnyard millet is not costly, because you are being used to eat so much of white rice, 20 kg per month. 5 kg is enough. Yes. 5 kgs of kodo millet in your whole house is enough. And evening ragi or bajra. And there is huge scope. Why? Because this has not been come to the households of the rural people and small towns. Still, now it's been promoted only in cities with millet, some brands and other things. When people started promoting rice, because rice is a very premium thing and only jamindars and big people use, like that they promoted 40 years back. And government started producing a lot of rice, putting so many projects, and rice has become cheaper or even free now. And each family is getting so much of rice and they can't throw it and they are started eating. So there is a big scope because lot of value addition is being done. Puffs, so many things. So if this can be taken to Europe or America with N9 certification and all that, with a good keeping quality, there is a big scope. See, when we are consuming cool drinks worth billions of dollars in our country, why not do we promote good things with value addition, with proper certification, can be exported, and that money dollar should come to India. Our money in the form of creams, lipsticks and cool drinks should not go to America. That money should come here. For that we have a lot of opportunities here and we should all try to explore and try to promote that with small machinery. Now good players have come in Tamil Nadu. With small machinery we can do basic processing so that it is available for the rural people. See, why rural people? They are the people still going to the sun and working in the field. They should be healthy. They are producing millets, but they are not eating. Why? Because the processing units are not being properly placed in the villages. If that can be done with some FPO, where conversion happens there in the villages itself, the valuation happens there, basic processing happens there, and they will also get money, and they will also eat it. That is very important. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that. We were basically actually discussing what are the opportunities and challenges, and especially opportunities for entrepreneurs, which way to go. But I'd, go back to, finding out what are the structural gaps. I mean, you've been in NABARD for a long time, that, we need to close down before the entire, the agriculture 2.0 can take off. I mean, there are sprouts of it everywhere, that there are, experimental things and prototypes of businesses being run, but we have not seen an equivalent of Nestle or something like that, come up. So where are these gaps? And, how equitable can we make this entire process?
Thank you, Ashhar. First of all, I was so little bit perplexed as to really what exactly is the theme of this entire talk. Because every entrepreneur has given their own way, but as a public policy man, because who was there in the institution for almost close to 37 years, we have some basic things actually which are required for the nation to run. Appreciating the millets, appreciating other things, actually that we cannot discount the production of rice and wheat. I am not saying that because why actually we have 140 crores of people, and 140 crores of people have to be fed every day thrice. It's not once. Otherwise there will be revolution. Now actually if you look into the productivity part, or if you look into the other things, actually that why actually the millets, though they were there for ages from the time of Ramayana to now, but thinking the productivity is the biggest issue. Even today actually nobody was able to correct that. Even today, if you look into with all the millet mission, international era of millets, what was the millet production in the country? 15, 17 million tons. But the rice, almost in the same area, probably it may produce around 110 or 120 million tons. Because why? You require to feed the people. So, appreciating the millets, because now whosoever can afford, whosoever has got such kind of thing. But thing is, at the same time, the Aam Janata need to be fed every day the food, whether it is white, rice or wheat. Now today, actually, why the whole world is looking at India? They are looking at India because you are producing around 350 million tons of food grains, of which close to around 270 million tons are contributed only by the wheat and rice. Now the biggest challenge actually that if you look into the whole of the spectrum, sustainability of the agriculture in the country, actually we have to look into it from that kind of a perspective. Rice cultivation itself, actually now I said take the case of Krishna Delta, Guntur, Godavari and other things. What are the basic problems the farmers are facing? The soil has gone maybe because of excessive use of all the things, actually it has gone. You have irrigation which is there, which is going to be there for the next 100 years also, because you cannot cut short because of the product things. But thing is, are people making money from the cultivation? And what are the other issues? Now actually that you are asking really what are the institutional issues and maybe few other things, other infrastructure. Now wherever the agriculture has to be sustainable, there should be sustainable infrastructure. In case of river areas, actually they have put the big dams and they have created the irrigation structures and we are able to cultivate water. But at the same time, that still we are having 60% of area under the rainfall. If that is the case, are we really doing that kind of a sustainability exercise of creating a moisture security? Now actually NABARD is the national implementation entity for the United Nations Fund for Climate Change. And we did quite a lot actually when we say that despite all the things, actually still we are so vulnerable. And the things are such things. So now we have to have a new technology, because now actually this ISF is basically talking about the technology. Now I wish that actually people should really talk about really what are the technologies really that are there and how the startups are doing this kind of thing. Because agriculture is their age old. But thing is, are the technologies and the startups are adding any value to this? Now today, what are the biggest challenges we are having? First thing is excess water or no water. So now you have to have a balanced water. And there is excess weeds and there is excess weedicide spraying which is killing the entire soil, because now most of the American soils are contaminated with the chemical. And thing is now Indians today, the first thing every farmer actually just to start the, whether it is Annadata or any program in the morning, they say that the moment you just put the seed, actually you spray the weedicide before the germination comes, because now the labor is not there. Now, is it the answer weedicide, or actually there should be a technology thing really where the robots have already come, where they do the inter-row weeding. Otherwise, there are some kind of a dissolvable mats actually which are very eco-friendly, which you can put on the field and afterwards you plant the seeds. Actually, now afterwards 1 or 2 years it will go. Now the startups are there in that kind of a thing. Then what are the other things actually regarding the productivity? Actually that there are so many issues. Now the same rice cultivation in the country, one spectrum to other spectrum, if you look at it, actually at some place actually farmers I have seen, farmers are producing 9 tons per acre. And the Indian average is just something around 1700 to 1800 kilos. That is 1.7 to 1.8. Now the actual country is there everywhere. So now in case if you have to do the sustainability, every farmer has to be brought onto the similar kind of a production. And it is the same thing. Then what is the other thing actually now you see that organic has become fashion. Organic some people are doing, but thing is nobody is sure really whether we are, whatever we are eating is organic. There are many places. I think today probably you must have seen one news item, actually it is now flashing everywhere. One person with a very little bit of a bilirubin content and a failed liver has been taken to that Haridwar ashram of organic way of treating. That fellow died, and now actually there is going to be big pictures on it. In case if the system is not validated, I think we are telling the stories. Actually now the organic, because now I have seen across, because almost around 25 countries I have seen, nobody is very sure the certification given is really correct of organic or not. Everybody is trying to say, mine is organic and his may not be organic. But at the same time, actually, we have a kind of a thing, because now really where is that? Now actually startups in Madhya Pradesh were banned because they were not doing the same organic kind of cultivation. So now the traceability is the one thing. Actually, where actually are we having the mechanism? That is where actually the institutional setups are required. Now horticulture department is doing that kind of organic certification. But at the same time, they are not very regular in doing it. And if you want to go for the international organic certification, that will charges a hell of a money to do this kind of a thing. And a farmer cannot do. Now FPOs have come. Whether FPOs together can do this kind of a thing. This is one thing. And second thing is by the startup funding. Now actually that now innovations, if you really look into it, agriculture is age old and it is being done. But thing is, And the Department of Agriculture is also there for the past 150 years, and they have done their job quite well and doing. But at the same time, wherever the startups have come, and the startups are addressing a particular problems. Now take the case of chili, that ITC is into the chili and turmeric export. What was the basic reason? Because sometimes our consignments are coming back, because despite telling actually the protocol, saying that SOPs are given that you should not use this kind of pressure, that fellow in his anxiety in the last minute also he is placing it, and it is going into the crop. And ultimately what happens is, sustainability, in my opinion, it is not only the land to be sustainable, farmer also has to be sustainable, because first of all he should be alive to do this one. Many places actually farmer is making loss. So that is where I think now the entire public policy discourse we should do it. Now in case if you see, because we have NAB Ventures and we have, because I am there in few kind of a venture capital funds, if you look into it, actually some of the problems being brought by the people are really very great. And they are addressing a particular section of that particular issue in a very big way. But at the same time, whether that startup is sustainable, because does he have the volume for doing such kind of a thing? Because now ultimately, there are many places actually, many agri startups have come, ultimately they are not able to go into that kind of a volume kind of a game. Because now actually they work in a very niche, and maybe 1,000 farmers, 2,000, 3,000 farmers, and in case if you have to have a state-of-the-art kind of a technology, there should be volumes. I think that is where I think now we have to concentrate, both from the governmental level, private, and also the entrepreneurial level, really how the problem identified can be scaled up. If that is the case, how the things are. Now from NABARD's perspective, I will say that actually Vishala was telling that now we have identified this issue, at least maybe because I am not saying that we have done a great wonder, but at the same time, that agri incubation centers we have started in almost around 10 agricultural universities. Like our Telangana Agricultural University and AIDEA, likewise Madurai, they are doing wonderful work. Almost close to around 50 to 60 kind of startups have been scaled up. And we created a catalytic capital and all those things. So now there actually, if you look into the sustainability of the startup is, the first initial capital somebody is giving, and once you just go to a little bit of a thing, actually somebody is not giving them. So now, whether that is sustainable, now we have to create such kind of an environment where the funding system also should be perfect. Actually, in case if Indian agriculture has to be very sustainable, some of those gaps which we identified, we have to work on it, and the public policy discourse should be on that kind of a thing, without taking away the present consumption pattern. Because now, come what may, 1,400 million people have to be fed, and they have to be given some nutrition. And if you look into the comparable crops, actually that nothing can yield better than wheat and rice. That is where actually the entire thing is gravitated. We are not partial to the wheat and rice, but at the same time that is the reality. If that is the case, we have to see really how the rice cultivation also can be very sustainable. Besides this kind of maybe millets and these are all niche kind of products. And as you heard, the traditional seeds we are having. Now yesterday I was reading that now somebody is starting the heirloom seeds. Now actually great-great-grandmothers actually they have saved the seeds, and the great-great-grandmother seeds now, if you just sow, probably you will get, because now you just take the old varieties, the yield is hardly around 5 bags, 6 bags, 10 bags, not beyond. But thing is whether really they are getting the money. That is the case, this particular product has to be branded to such a level that they will get the money at par with the other fellow who is getting 5 tons of a normal thing. Now that is where actually that we have to work on the sustainability.
Thank you very much for that perspective. I think it was important. Now apart from, running the panel, I'd just like to present a couple of my own views here. So, just to put things into context, okay, I'd just like to mention 3 things. One is that majority of Indians are not Hindus, they are not Muslims, they are not Dalits, they are not Brahmins, they are farmers. Okay? And we forget the fact that India will sustain itself if farmer is alive. And if you take farming away from the farmer, there's nowhere else for this person to go, right? You can't have that many jobs in IT sector. You can't even have that many people in the cities. They have to remain there. So now, on one hand, that is there. On the other hand, we are also looking at the fact that we're talking about farmerless farming now. Okay, we are talking of how there is already a shortage of labor, while 50% of Indians do depend on farming, or probably more. So it's a conundrum that we need to solve at that level. Now, from the entrepreneurship point of view, okay, I have very disturbing facts. Not one AgriTech in the last 5 years has got acquired. So all of us, self-included, have nowhere to go, and entrepreneurs can't run an ITC, okay? We can take a particular idea and convert that into a sustainable product, show how it can be done, but beyond that, our route out is getting acquired. So Indian acquisition is abysmal. Funding for AgriTech, although there are a couple of venture funds looking at it, but they've got more, shiny new things happening, saying, data is happening, AI is happening, etc., etc. In the middle of it, Vishala comes around and says, I've got one millet thing, keep quiet. What are you saying, somebody else? So it's very easy to get, distracted with this. But on the other hand, so there has to be institutional support, and by that what I mean is, for example, I ran a fund, a venture fund, in which government made a fund of funds for 2,000 crores and said, take this 2,000 crores and put it into semiconductors and aerospace. And we said, okay, all right, we'll run this fund. But there are no equivalents of those funds of funds which will allow sector-specific, investing into AgriTech itself. But on the other hand, there are a lot of opportunities that you see that, a lot of people from the farming community are talking about, for example, de-weeding robots, other ways of doing it. The final challenge for me is data. Okay, what we call as tribal knowledge, what we say as, grandmother's seeds or, traditional ways of doing things. Now, once you convert it into data, it becomes a product. When it becomes a product, it becomes an IPR. And whose IPR is this? Is the big question, right? We should not let this become another thing that the multinationals will sell back to us, our own stuff. So those, I think, are the very, big challenges that we are facing now, and also an opportunity. For example, for an AI company to look at this, I think Mahesh's company is already looking at it, and, a couple of them are doing that. I'll open this up to precisely 3 questions because we do not have time. I think there's one question already here. Can I have another 2 questions? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's it. Sir, please, I'll pass on my mic to you. Is there a mic there? Yeah. We'll just take 3 questions and then we're done with it. So we'll have to be very short. May I just ask you a very pointed question so that we can move on? And if there's a particular panelist you would like to ask the question to, that would be even better.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be pretty brief.
Yeah.
I come from a commodities trading background globally. Okay. So I can be very pinpointed about it. You referred about weather as a panel, but where are the financial institutions, the LICs or the insurance companies of the world who cannot come up with the weather futures in India? You talk about all kinds of problems happening, droughts and floods and whatever. Where are the brains of India that are not able to come up with the weather futures that can be then used to hedge crops?
Fantastic.
That's the first question. Second question, time and again, this has been 10, 20 years association with India for me, or maybe 30 years. I cannot find a bigger entrepreneur than the farmer in India. He is the biggest risk taker in the country. I can guarantee this. He does not know what price he is going to get for his produce. He is planting something and hoping for the best. It's left to God, ultimately, right? Tell me one entrepreneur who can run a business with not knowing his budget, not knowing his financials. What is the answer? Where are the price curves available for the commodities that they're growing? Where are the exchanges that can give you a price 6 months forward? If you don't create all that, how are you going to do this? You can have tech talks, but it's not going to change anything. Technology is not the solution. Thank you.
Kumar, would you like to take this?
Sir, the challenge is quite obvious, like brief comment from your side. There's no doubt about in our mind. I think only one, there are many number of solutions in this. Based on our own experience, what I can tell is, ITC also, because we are working with 6 million farmers, one of our digital initiative is ITC Mars, where Meta Market for Advanced Agriculture and Rural Services, where we try to look at giving a comprehensive solution to the farmer to enable him to have a demand-driven crop supply chain, and production is aligned with the demand, as well as it is weather resilient. Various technological interventions, customized crop advisories, packages, access to the right input, right advisory, as well as right pricing trends, as well as weather forecasts, so that farmer what he needs to do, what he can anticipate in terms of supply side challenges like weather, as well as the market side challenges like what price he can expect, what sort of demand he can expect. I think there are so many things which we can do based on the big data collection from the millions of the farmer, giving what if, doing the what if analysis in terms of various crop modelings as well as the future forecasting methodologies, which is helping the farmer to address more effectively the supply side challenges as well as the market challenges in meeting the customer requirement. I think we can go on hours or hours. Positive time, I'll close here. Thank you.
I think a very valid question you asked. Definitely, India requires futures trading. India requires weather futures. And attempts have been made. I am not saying it has been done. Like National Commodity Exchange is basically a futures trading kind of a market where the prices are almost actually one can sell in the futures, like the way the Chicago futures are. But the problem with maybe the India, maybe when compared to US or any other thing, here probably 2022, there was a 10% drop in wheat in the country. And there was a chaos all over. And suddenly the government of India has clamped a restriction, no futures trading and no trading at all. So now actually, as you are telling, sometimes actually that whether the institutions, this kind of institution should be away from the public policy because they should be run on a corporate. Because now as he was telling, in case of ITC, he is the master because he says that I want maybe 10,000 tons of chilies. And he can organize the 10,000 farmers who can produce 10,000 chilies. He can give them the everything, including the price, because now actually as per the Swaminathan formula or any kind of thing, you say that actually if you are spending 50,000 rupees, you are getting 1 lakh rupees because my price is this one. And in case if the market is better, probably you may get even more also. Now that is what. This is what actually the future has been put on the NCDEX for the farmers at large. But thing is actually now that system has become a little bit incapacitated. And second thing is the weather related kind of thing. Now, some people have started because now there are some few startups which have become very big also. They told actually that now they'll give actually almost it is a competitor to the IMD, Indian Meteorological Data Department, and they also used to give the weather data. Next year is going to be 96%, 99%. And they told that they can even charge a fee and say that to the farmer, now actually you are going to produce this much, in case if you are producing less, actually I will pay the money also. But thing is that kind of a startup also, probably because of either weather vagaries are not having enough funding to support that kind of a thing. Now they are not in the picture at all. Now there is a weather-based insurance company has come. Actually, I know that one of the things is from Hyderabad itself. But they charge a little higher to the farmer and not much of a state pattern. Because now our farmer mentality is also, whatever is there, the government has to do. Because there is a flood, we say that now we take the case of Vijayawada. Now actually yesterday if you are seeing the visuals, the chief minister, the all houses which were having the mud, innovatively he took the fire engines and got all the houses cleaned up, this kind of thing. Now 3 fellows came on the TV, said that, "Arey sir, you have done everything, but thing you see this, my fridge was not properly washed." Now this is the way actually like the insurance also the same thing. Now what they say, when it comes, actually everything is good. Otherwise, the government has to pay me the whole thing. Now, actually, that because I was there in Nabad and really how the insurance things were done. If you look into the historical data, ever since the crop insurance has been started from 1980s till 2020, there are only 16 districts in the country got the insurance cover. They fleece almost close to around 85% of the insurance. Because there the people, politicians and the farmers, everybody knows really how to make the things and things, and the rest of the people are left high and dry. So really, as we are telling, now this thing has to be in the domain of the private. So really, as we are telling, now this thing has to be in the domain of the private, because where the profit motto is also should be the thing, so that the services are also good. Otherwise, if it is a public thing, actually everybody thinks, okay, now Babu karega, or Babu, whether he will do it or not, nobody knows about it. So actually that the futures trading, actually, which we are fighting for the past maybe at least 10, 20 years, still it has not been materialized. That is the thing. Actually, a big corporate can afford to do the futures fixation because they have such kind of a mechanism to do for the limited quantity. But the country as a whole, this is where we are producing 750 million tons of various products. Probably there is no mechanism like that right now.
I'm sorry we have to cut this short. Yeah, we just have to cut short because I'm unfortunately not even taking the other two questions now. But what we can do is we can probably, meet up with the panel now. We'll be available here and we can probably, catch up with each other over a cup of tea or something. But yeah, I'm sorry about this, but we're running short of time. We started late and then this time compression, another session to go before lunch. So thank you very much and I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you panel, and just for about a minute, I request Mahesh and Jay sir to come up on stage to felicitate all the panelists. It was a good mix of people from the policy background, entrepreneurs, and also from the industry who shared their insights. Thank you very much, esteemed panel, for these brief points that you made. The people who had questions, I think you can connect offline over a cup of coffee and then take your questions there. Over to Jyoti for the next CXO Connect.
Thank you, Bernie.